Welcome to Actual Skill Modelling. This is part 16 of the USS United States, scale 1 to 96. In this part, the final part, I'm going to be putting on the outer sails and the lifeboats, and this will bring the build to an end. So let's get into this. Right, so I've decided to put on the extended sails, as I've said. In order to do that, I have to put the extended booms and masts on. On the hull, they stick it in the hull. There's tiny little holes for them to go into, but I'm just making them bigger because the hole doesn't go all the way through, so and it wouldn't give very good pictures. So I'm just making this hole bigger so I can push the actual beam right into the hull, and then it's a simple matter of pushing the beams into the slightly extended hole. There's 4 in total to put on. Still a little bit of rigging to do as well, and this is for the gaff sail, so I'm just placing in the rigging here. So I'm just working my way through this layer like all the other rigging, just using the threader, pulling it through the pulleys and anchoring it onto the location points. A little bit easier this part of rigging compared to the rest of it, because there's a lot more room on the deck to work at. And also because I'm putting on the extended sails, there's a little bit more rigging to be done, so I'm using a curved needle this time to make it a little bit easier to get into the anchor points at the base of the mast. I wish I thought about this before, but there you go, coming near the end of the build and you come up with an idea. It's always the way. The curved needle just allows me to slip underneath the furniture around the mast and bring it out so that I don't have to stick my hands right in and snap things off. And that's one of the biggest issues when building this. You tend to break off lines that are under too much tension if you knock them and so forth. So this rigging here is primarily for securing the extended mast. If you're not putting on the extended sails, these masts would be fitted against the hull of the ship, so you wouldn't have to actually do this process. So I'm just working from one end of the ship to the other, same process all the way through with this rigging. I had to put on an extra couple of pulleys as well, I should have, because I'm doing this little bit extra work, but there is enough room on the yard arms to do this. Also a process I forgot to do, but it's not a major thing because it could have been done at any time. I have to rig up the yard arms as well, from yard arm to main mast, and this is part of the process here. It's a series of diagonal lines running from the yard arm to the mast, and you're making like a V shapes as you go around. Now if you have run out of room to do this, just tie it over some of your rigging lines that are hard against the mast. It won't matter, and in fact it will help secure some of the rigging to give you a little bit more security. I will say you should try and do 1 yard arm at a time. Don't do one side then turn your model over, flip it around and do the other side. Try and do both at the same time. The reason for that is you don't want to get mixed up on your lines. You want to get 2 of them even, because when you pull them taut, you want to pull them taut simultaneously, or you'll end up with your yard arms going out of place and lopsided. So I'm just placing the last of the rigging in now on the yard arms. The bottom ones are very simple. They get secured onto the little plates at the back of the ship. Actually, the cleat came off while I was doing this, so I had to tie it to the frame of the quarterdeck there, but it didn't really matter. So onto the sails themselves now. There's one on each yard arm has to be placed on, and obviously one on each side. Now the unique thing about these sails is the way they slope. You have to make sure that you get the slope in the right angle. Basically, as it peaks out to the end there, make sure that goes on the outside. So there is a left and there is a right. It is stamped on the sheet as S and P, so that you don't get muddled up. If you're using the plastic ones, just do one at a time, but if you like me doing a fabric type, make sure you label them up before you do so. So I'm preparing these sails just like I did with the main sails. I'm putting in the pulleys at the end, securing them with the knots with a little bit of glue just so they don't come out. And before I put the sails on, I'm just putting on the pillars that hold the lifeboats or in place. Now the instructions, this is on the very last page of the instructions, and it's one of your last jobs to do on the kit. I've decided to put them on now to allow for drying time. So when I do get to them, it'll all be nice and secure and ready to receive the lifeboats. There's also two struts at the stern of the ship that have to be placed in. Now the location points for these are a bit low compared to what they are on the instructions, so I'm not 100% sure if they're in the right position, but that was the only place I was able to see where they were connected to. So as you can see, I'm in the process of putting on these side sails on now. I've done quite a few of them already, but they all get put on the exact same way. So I make up a little loop on the top of the sail first of all, and place it on the yard arm, and then tighten one side up, one end up first. I then work along the sail to attach it. Now some of these will only have 2 ties in it, some will have 1, depending on how large the sail is. This one has 3 on it, so 1 at the end, 1 in the middle and 1 at the other end. So I'm just working my way through. Once the top's secure, it's time to do the bottom. Now I'm making a loop again and tying it onto the yard arm. This time I'm leaving more length on the actual rope here. This is because I'll be shaping the sail, and then once one side's done, onto the next side. I always do the one on the outside first, that way you know the position. If you do the inside one first, yes, it's easier to tie in your knot, however there'll be a chance that you pull it too far in and it will not lean out as much as it should do. And then it's on to the last one, so this will be getting tied on the exact same way as the one that you just saw. So starting off at the corner and working my way to the opposite end. Now these main ones, these are the ones that get attached to the extended booms on the side of the hull. Just be careful when you're rigging these out. Make sure you do leave a nice length between the boom and the sail. You don't want to pull it too taut because it will pull out the alignment of your other rigging all the way from the bowsprit all upwards, and you really do not want to try and sort all that out. So again, working from the outside to the in, and making sure like the outside there's a good length before securing it with a little bit of super glue, then cutting off the ends. Make sure as well, should say this, that you've got a sharp blade doing this, but be careful. A couple of times applied a little bit of pressure and the knife's gone right through and it's gone into another line which I've had to redo. And now that they're all on, I begin the process of shaping the sails how I want them, and as I said before, it's because I put the solder wire in, so I'm just having them slightly bellowed out like the wind is pushing them. So these are the lifeboats that I made up early on in the process, so they're ready to go on, and they're getting put on just like the rigging themselves. So I'm just using my threader once more to go through the cleat and pull the thread through. So each lifeboat has 2 running rigging lines attached to it there, and then the next part is to fit them on the pillars. Now these have already been pre-drilled for the hole, so that's good, you don't have to do that. So it's just a matter of threading it through once more. Now do start with one end first of all, and run your line through, then add a little bit of counterweight just to hold it so that it's not going to come undone before you attach the next part of the rigging to the opposite end pillar. And it's the same again, just pull it through. Once you've got both lines through, start threading your rigging into a loop. So you've got the secure end going up into the boom, then that comes back down and goes into the pulley before going back up into the actual boom. And then it's just a matter of pulling them level until each end of the lifeboat is parallel to the hull before securing it. Now I secured it with a little bit of super glue before tying it off. Apologies for my hands getting in the way here, but I couldn't get a proper camera angle for it. And once it was secure, I tied off the ends on the back of the pillar. There is a little bracket there you just wind it around to secure the lifeboat. Now I've done it on the other side as well, and it's the same process, so there was no point showing you it. Then it was on to the rear lifeboat, which again it was that same process. So this actually brings the build to an end now. It was a difficult build, even for me. I've built a couple of ships, but I decided to rig it out fully in the end, as you saw, and put in all the sails. It is. I would recommend this kit for moderate and advanced, but really more advanced than anyone. Now, if you do want to have a go at this kit, but you don't have much experience, the instructions are good, but they can also be a little bit confusing as well. The reason for that is it gives you two options to have the sails on or have the sails off, and it gives you a different set of instructions each, and sometimes they can overlap, so you have to pay attention to that. Also, you do not have to put on a full square rigging on your model. I put it on just because I'm mad and I like doing it, but it doesn't distract anything from the model if you just put a simple rigging set on. So leaning from the bow going up to each mast and back down again, and rigging off some of the yard arms and putting on the shrouds. If that's all you want to do, it's a lot simpler and a lot easier to do, and it will still look okay, especially if you're going to be putting the sails on. The final reveal video will be right at the end of this one, so keep playing it until the end and you'll see all the ship. I did have difficulty photographing it because of the size of the kit, but so I've done the best I can. So why don't you go and check out the other parts of this video if you haven't done so already, or indeed check out the channel for all my different builds. There's generally something there for everyone. Feel free to leave a comment and hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel for any upcoming builds that I've got planned in the future. So all that's left to say is thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed building it. But for now, bye bye.